want to talk about something that I've seen be very common in a lot of my past clients and people that I've worked with. And this is having grown up in a house where they had some sort of emotional neglect, right? And a lot of times this doesn't have to go with being raised in a difficult house where the parents were physically abusive, where there was a lot of trauma, like, or heavy subjects like sexual abuse. None of that happened, right? Maybe they grew up in a pretty normal house where they seemed to be pretty happy, right, for most of the time. But whenever something difficult came up, whenever a big situation in life pops up, right? They weren't ever able to ask the parent or the parents for advice, for some validation for what they were feeling, right? They were never able to get that. And this is why it's so hard to try and connect with somebody when they're expressing this to you, like telling you that they don't feel validated, telling you that they feel lonely, telling you that they don't even understand how they feel, right, or their emotions that they're going through, because a lot of times it's going to stem from this relationship with their parents. And in the Mexican American households or Mexican households, this is very common because we're kind of taught in a unspoken way to be tough, right? To that life, this is life. Life is tough, so you have to push through it. And a lot of times we live our whole life this way. We go to work, working incredibly long hours, difficult labor jobs, physical labor jobs, and just pushing through everything. And these emotions simply get bottled up until they explode or they become something else or they show up as some minor form of disconnect with ourselves in life, right? And the three things that I see the most common in these clients that I told you about is the first one is persistent feelings of loneliness, where even if they're in big groups of people, if they're even in family groups, right, they can still feel this deep-seated loneliness that they have a hard time getting rid of, and they have a hard time overlooking, so that they can connect on a deeper level with others or even on a surface level with others, right? They find it hard to just be in a normal conversation with others at times. And the second thing that I've seen is difficulty understanding their emotions, where they can't express anything other than anger, yelling, rage, right? And anything else that isn't those emotions, they seem to have suppressed them for so long that they can't even recognize them or express them in words anymore. This is something that's very common in young men, especially whenever they've had difficult relationships with their fathers. It's something that I've seen happen multiple times. The third one is a low self-esteem that is chronic, right? That they seem to carry with them for a long time. And whenever something doesn't go their way, their self-worth instantly um, goes back down to that low level where they don't feel like they're worth anything, because anything that they do never feels like it's enough for themselves or for anybody else around them, as that may have been something that they experienced with their parents as well. One thing I can tell you that has helped some people whenever they just want some advice, right? I always tell them to just start a journal or just start writing the emotions and even trivial things that may not seem important, right? Just write them down so you can start to see patterns and recognize things that are going on internally for you, right? And as you start to analyze these things, you can start to recognize that emotions are not bad. They're a natural part of being human, but you recognizing them and validating them for yourself is going to be something that helps you let go of them and move through them in a healthier way instead of just suppressing them. So just remember, if you have a hard time with any of these, um, it's going to take some internal work to start to break free from this suppression of emotion that's been so normal in your life, that's been a part of your childhood, your adolescence, and now your adult life.